There are men who walk away from wrestling quietly with a wave and a Hall of Fame plaque. Then there's Billy Jack Haynes, a guy who left the business like it owed him money, killed his dog, and ghosted his mother. Haynes didn't just hate people in wrestling, he documented it, on camera. Multiple times, with conspiracy charts, stuttering rage, and enough bile to drown a territory. If the wrestling world is a dysfunctional family, Haynes was the cousin who shows up drunk to the funeral and accuses the priest of being CIA. This isn't about bad booking or backstage politics. This is about pure venom. A man who believed Vince McMahon killed people, slapped Percy Pringle backstage, threatened to shoot promoters, mocked Lex Luger to his face, and treated Barry Windham like a broken turnbuckle pad. And the scariest part? This wasn't a gimmick. Haynes meant every word. Forget kayfabe. This video was a shoot. 5 real names, 5 legit enemies, and one man whose blood pressure hit detonator anytime you mentioned the business. So tighten your full Nelson, lock the dressing room door, and keep security on speed dial. This is Billy Jack Haynes versus everybody. And he brought receipts. Backstage etiquette is sacred in wrestling. You mess up a finish, you apologize. You forget a cue, you stay humble. But if you're Percy Pringle and you botch Billy Jack Haynes' spot, you get slapped so hard your urn develops PTSD. That's not a metaphor. Billy slapped Percy across the face in front of stunned boys backstage, because according to Haynes, Percy cost him a match. Not a championship, not a main event, just a finish. And that, in the twisted gospel of Haynes, was enough to start smacking managers like owed rent. Bill Alfonso, yes, whistle-blowing Fonzie, witnessed it. On Dark Side of the Ring, Alfonso said Haynes had a switch in his head. One moment calm, the next moment full psycho. And Percy? Wrong place, wrong face. Billy thought he was setting a standard. Everyone else thought he was becoming a lawsuit with hair. Haynes never apologized. He didn't just hate Percy for that one mistake. He despised the idea of weak links in the chain. In his mind, if you couldn't protect the finish, you didn't belong in the match. Percy became the symbol for everything Billy thought was soft in wrestling, and Billy hated soft the way a lion hates zookeepers. Years later, even recounting the story, Haynes still sounded proud. No remorse, no regret. Just that cold tone he used when talking about anyone he believed had no place in the business. There's stiff, and then there's sarcastic stiff. And Billy Jack Haynes had a PhD in that when it came to Lex Luger. The moment they shook hands backstage, Haynes looked at him mid-promo and went, "Oh, hey, Randy." Wait, my bad, Lex. That's not a slip. That's a calculated insult with cardio. Haynes said it on camera in his RF video shoot. No smile, no joke, just a raw jab aimed straight at Luger's chemically frozen face. According to Haynes, Luger was so juiced up, so blank behind the eyes, he genuinely thought he'd just met a parody of himself. And Billy despised that. The synthetic muscles, the politician handshake, the no-soul stare, it all reeked of everything Haynes thought was killing wrestling from the inside. He didn't throw hands with Lex, but make no mistake, he punched down, constantly. Called him a plastic warrior, mocked his work ethic, and suggested Lex wouldn't last 10 minutes in Portland without a mirror and a gas station pharmacy. Billy didn't believe Luger earned his spot. It wasn't just professional jealousy. It was moral disgust. Billy saw himself as a real wrestler. Legit shooter, heavy hands, full cardio. Luger was a Flex magazine cover in boots. The hate was deeper than bookings. It was philosophical. One guy worked the business, the other guy worked the bathroom stall. There's shoot heat, and then there's, "I almost drove to an arena to kill Vince McMahon" heat. That's a real quote, not a metaphor, not promo rage. Billy Jack Haynes admitted on camera that he once planned to confront Vince at a WWF event with a gun. Not to scare him, not to talk, to shoot him dead. That's the level of contempt we're dealing with. In multiple shoot interviews, Haynes paints Vince as the criminal kingpin of the wrestling world, accusing him of everything from steroid trafficking to murder cover-ups, and not vague ones either. He named names, claimed Vince was behind the deaths of Curt Hennig, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit's family, and even Owen Hart, calling the whole thing a corporate body count. He didn't stop there. Haynes swore Vince used private investigators to harass him, claimed his phone was tapped, and once compared McMahon to Pablo Escobar without the charisma. The man thought Vince engineered death like a booker lays out finishes, and when nobody listened, he got angrier until all that heat became real-life criminal intent. Did he follow through? No, but the thought? It lived rent-free in his skull for decades. And every shoot since has been therapy through fire, talking like a man who still wouldn't flinch at the chance. You ever hear a man say, "I gave him a lesson with a straight face"? That's not coaching talk. That's a prelude to a mugshot. And when Billy Jack Haynes said it about Barry Windham, the tension hit detention hall levels. Real slow, real menacing. The story's not flashy. No bar fight, no airport meltdown, but Haynes didn't need pyro. He told the story flat out in his shoot. Barry disrespected him backstage, so Billy taught him something. No details, no follow-up. Just that sentence, said like he was recalling weather. And that's what made it scary. Haynes clearly felt Windham coasted on Daddy's name. He saw a guy who looked the part but didn't respect the ring. And in Haynes' mind, disrespecting the ring was like spitting on the Declaration of Independence. This wasn't just ego, this was principle with fists. If you were soft, he'd stretch you. If you smiled too much, he'd slap the toothpaste off your gums. The Windham encounter was a microcosm of Haynes' whole worldview. Old school or out, real or dead, no gray. Barry was tall, handsome, second generation, and that made him a walking target for Haynes, who never trusted people who got through the door without bleeding first. The Full Nelson Challenge feud between Billy Jack Haynes and Hercules Hernandez looked like a gimmick. Big guys, big necks, big holds. But backstage, that was pure hate with veins on it. Haynes never respected Hercules, said he was stiff without reason, lazy between the ropes, and protected by Bobby Heenan like a toddler at daycare. So what happened? WrestleMania 3. The match looked normal to the crowd. To everyone else, it was a fight wrapped in spandex. Haynes put the full Nelson on Hercules like he was trying to compress his spine into sawdust. Then came the receipt. Heenan interfered. Hercules grabbed a steel chain and legit cracked open Billy's skull. Go back and watch it. Haynes bleeds like a faucet. That's not blade work, that's head trauma. But it didn't end there. Haynes called him out after the feud ended, said Herc was juiced to the gills, called him a joke without the punchline, and even suggested that Bobby Heenan had to talk him out of shooting on Hercules backstage in a later match. Billy believed that feud should have been personal. Herc treated it like cartoon hour, so Billy responded with shoot-level violence and took just as much back. They finished their feud in chain matches, so stiff they looked like prison brawls. Haynes once said, "I didn't sell the pain, I sold the hate." Some guys leave wrestling with a handshake and a podcast. Now, this guy left like a wildfire on probation. He didn't do curtain calls. He did closed fists, death stares, and shoot interviews where the rage didn't even blink. The business didn't just piss him off, it insulted his entire operating system. He didn't hate gimmicks. He hated the people who forgot it was supposed to hurt. If you smiled too much backstage, he slapped the toothpaste out of your mouth. If you skipped cardio and wore baby oil, he'd accuse you of murdering the sport. If you had the wrong handshake, you were one wrong breath from getting stretched. And every person who crossed him turned into a chapter in his angry autobiography. Some got slapped, some got chain whipped, some got mocked so cold you'd think he was rehearsing for a roast at the bottom of a grave. He didn't bury opponents, he buried the idea of pretending. And if you couldn't survive his truth, that wasn't his problem. If this one made you laugh, wince, or feel like checking your pulse, hit that like button. Subscribe for more savage locker room shoot stories where no one's protected and everyone's fair game. This isn't about finishers or fireworks, it's about what they really said when the cameras were off. Tap the bell, stay sharp, and come back next time. Because this business, it's only fake until someone gets slapped for real. Thanks for watching.